But hello, everyone. Welcome to our Lunch and Learn with Microverse Alumni. This is where they're going to share their tips and advice about their job search, what their first week was like on the job and everything like that, what their interviews were like. So thank you for being here. Um, my name is not Student Success. That's just the account I'm logged in on. I'm Jen, and I'm one of the career coaches here at Microverse. And I have worked with some of the people that are going to be appearing on the screen with us. And then there's Crystal, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Crystal, one of the career coaches at Microverse. I'm super happy that we are doing this. And I'm actually super happy because the two guest speakers that we have today, so Diego and Edem, were both my students and they both got jobs. Diego was my very first student to get a job. So I was so happy. And I'm really happy to be here with you today.
I see there's Murillo. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Marilla.
So I figured we would start with the panelists as they're trickling in. One by one, each of you can introduce yourself. So you're basically, if you could introduce yourself with your name, your location, and how long you've been in your current job. And we can start with Edem.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jen. So, as you said, my name is Adam. I'm currently residing in Accra. I mean, that's Ghana. Yeah, I'm in Ghana. Uh, yeah, I've been in my current job for 4 months now. Yeah, I started actually mid-October. Yeah, so this is my technically 4 month. Oh no, okay, this technically my fifth month. Yeah, entry my fifth month. Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Cool, thank you. And how about you, Diego?
Yeah, hello. I'm from Mexico, and I've been 6 months in my job.
Murillo.
Hey, I'm Murillo. I'm in Brazil, and I've been in my current job since December, so 2 months and some days.
Nice, thank you. Lucas, I see you popped in. We're just going around. Each of you introduce yourself, where you're from, and how long you have been in your current job.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lucas. I am from Colombia, as you can see with the T-shirt, the national football team. I will explain a little bit why later. And I have been in my current job since August 19. Yeah, since August from last year.
Nice, thank you. All right, I think we have a couple more. Yes, Crystal.
Yes, just before we go on, someone asked in the Q&A if they can say if they're working remote or on site or a mix of the two. So
Okay,
Adam.
so yeah, so I'm working fully remote. Yeah, fully
Okay.
remote. Yep.
Thank you.
For me, I was supposed to be on site, but because of COVID, I'm remote, and I guess I will continue being remote whether the pandemic or not.
Okay, thank you. Over
Yes.
to you.
I work completely remote. I work for a company in the UK. Now that I see that people are asking, where are we working? And yeah, it's a little bit different how to deal with time zones, but it's manageable.
Okay.
And for me, it's fully remote, but after COVID, we will have to travel 4 times a year there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks. So I like that the Q&A has already fired up. There's questions in here. I do want to let you all know that there will be time at the end and we will do Q&A. So keep putting them in there and not the chat, because the chat gets so full of comments that they will get lost. So keep them in the Q&A section. And with that, I want to jump into some questions that I want to ask some of our folks here. So I have a list of questions that are frequently asked questions. So these things might have popped up in the Q&A already, or they might pop up while we're doing this. But if I don't ask the questions, then you guys will have your turn at the end. So to kick things off, I want to ask Diego, would you like to share what was your interview experience like?
Yes. Well, I had like 20 interview processes in total. And I would have to say like an average experience. The first step is like pre-screening, where somebody calls you. It could be a recruiter or someone from HR that wants to know something about if you are able to work on the technologies that your resume said. So it's not going to be very technical. It's just going to look if you have a kind of experience and talk a little bit about that. After that, after the pre-screening, could be a phone call, could be a LinkedIn, or could be an email. Then they will take you to a coding challenge, or it could be a technical interview. Could be algorithms and their structures, or it could be just a project on the technology they're looking for. Could be, I don't know, if you're applying for a React job, then it could be something about React, or whatever, Ruby on Rails, depending on the role. And after you successfully go through that, you then go to an interview, potentially with the CTO or with the technical lead, or someone that is that wants to know more about you. This is where soft skills count a lot, because they will kind of ask you, how do you handle situations with teams and so on. And it is going to be a little bit technical also. And the last step, which is not in every company that I applied for, was an interview with the client. This is the last part where the client, the company wants to be sure that the client likes you. So this interview is kind of a mix of the previous one, because the client is going to ask you, may ask you some technical questions, and also some soft skills questions about the team handling and so on. So I will split in pre-screening, coding challenge, then an interview with the team lead, and then the client. That I could say this is the average experience that I had in my interview processes.
Cool, thank you. How I saw a question related to this, so I'm going to jump in on this. How would you say your confidence was going into those interviews?
Well, at first it was, it was always a building step. You don't have a lot of confidence at first, that's the truth, or at least that happened to me, because you are new at this, it's new ground, so on. Also, you are really prepared by the coaches, because you kind of expect things, but anyways, you have to live it. And when you have your first interview, then you are not supposed to be kind of the best, and that's okay. But the purpose of this is getting as much as you can, so you build confidence in every interview that you're getting on.
Awesome, thank you. Crystal, you're up. You have a question to ask.
All right, okay, let's do this. So I have heard from many students that when they explain their Microverse experience in an interview or even on a call with a recruiter, they have difficulty explaining their Microverse experience because they feel it's not enough. And we're just talking about confidence issues, okay? So when we don't have a lot of experience, we sort of struggle with expressing our Microverse experience and being proud of it. So I would like to ask, my next question is for Diego. How did you feel about explaining your Microverse experience in an interview?
How do I feel? Well, I like to point important aspects implicitly. First, I would say that I was in an intensive 8-month program, making web development projects with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and and so on. And that will say that I have a strong background on technical aspects. Then I will say that every single day I have a meeting with a team that are people from around the world, from Nigeria, from Argentina, from Colombia, and from Dominican Republic, sorry, or whichever team you have. And that will say that you are multicultural, that you are talking with people from other cultures, that you're dealing with these situations, and that's very appealing for interviewers. And yeah, after that, I would say that when we have this daily meeting, we have we see if how's the progress of everyone, if we have any blockers, and if there are blockers, then we can help and step in. And that will talk about team accountability, that you are there every single day and you are helping each other, and that is going to be very, very appealing also. And last, I would say that all that we work together, where with communication tools like Zoom, Slack, and we make use of GitFlow, so GitHub, and that is a very, very important skill that you know to make software development in a team remotely. You know how to use GitHub, you know how to use commands, and pair programming, also a very important skill. So you can work with another person in a technical aspect from very far away.
Okay, thank you so much, Diego. Really good explanation. Thank you. Over to you, Jen.
I actually wanted to ask, yes, you're right. It is my turn. I want to talk about your first week on your job, because I know I've worked with a lot of graduates that go into when they first get their job and they're so excited. And then the next thing they say to me is like, oh, I hope I don't mess up. Like, I hope I live up to everything they expect of me after that interview. And there's this nervousness that they're not going to be good enough in the job. So I want to talk about that first week. And I want to ask Murillo, how can you describe what you did on your first week of your job?
Hey, Jen. So, okay. So on my first week at my job, I was a little bit nervous, of course. I think everyone would be. But everyone there was very nice to me, and everyone explained everything I needed to know. So me and a lot of people that joined together with me, we called that week as drinking water from an hydrant, because there were a lot of information, and we did have a lot of time to absorb everything. Uh, so at the first week, we were on an onboarding part of our jobs. They have some kind of playbook with a lot of information, and they created issues on GitHub for us, and we would go through all of the checks and do also some quizzes just to check if we read everything. And also we had a lot of meetings throughout the day with each team that did something. So for example, we had an onboarding with the data team, and then with the engineering team, and with the student success team of the company. So really a lot of information, but no pressure at all. Nobody was like, nobody was expecting us to learn everything in this week. We had some time to sit and listen and read about what our job will be like, and who were our leaders, who would be need to answer to, and which were all of the daily meetings we had to attend. So yeah, despite being a lot of information, we had no pressure at all. I imagine most companies are like that.
Great. And how about you, Edem? What was your experience like first week on the job?
Thanks, Jen. Well, it was quite an interesting experience because, as Moreno say, you feel a bit stressed. I mean, your first week because you don't really know what's going to happen, whether they are going to start giving you like assignments, start to do serious coding and all, because you will expect them to give you something really serious, looking at the kind of interview process that you've gone through. You get it. Yeah, but my first week was quite interesting because my I mean, I had a lot of meetings as just like Murillo, and those meetings were basically with the various teams of the company. So we had a back-end team and the front-end teams. So they were all just like introductory meetings where I had to be introduced to the various technologies that were used at both by both teams, and then also introduced to the bigger picture of each team, what each team is supposed to accomplish, and what's their end goal. So that was basically what I did in my first week. And I also had meetings with the owners of the company to discuss the vision and the mission, where they are taking the company to, and I mean, where they see the company in the next 5, 10 years. So they wanted me to kind of feel at home and be part of something uh, uh, like something personal. They wanted me to take whatever I'll be working on very personal and take it as my child. So my immediate boss always used to tell me that my project is my baby. So yeah, I was brought on board to spearhead the creation of an extension. That was the main thing. But now I'm doing more than that. So uh, they wanted me to feel at home, feel really part of the company, and feel really part of the product that we are building. The first week was really just a way of letting me know that this company is less like my company. I should just make sure that whatever I'm doing, I do it with passion, and whatever I'll do here is what I will do on a personal project. Yeah, and also in my first week, there was a lot of setup, trying to tell me what I'm supposed to install and all those like here and there. And also something interesting that they asked me to do in my first week was about having some targets, okay, for the next 6 months. And these are not technical targets. These are not targets that will be like, okay, you're supposed to build this, build that. No. But these targets were about me knowing people. So by the first 2 months, I was supposed to have had some level of personal connection with almost everybody in the team. So I was supposed to schedule a meeting with almost each person, and then kind of like know what they do, where they live, what they do on their free time, and all. So this my company setting is really an open culture where we really feel everybody's like everybody's at home, and then you are not really pressured to do or like to kind of go overboard or do something that you can't do. I hope you get me. Yeah. So yeah, that was it for my first week. Jen, is that okay? Or you want me to? Hello, Jen.
I think it's okay, but her microphone must have been muted.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was yes. I also wanted to hear from Lucas on this one before we go forward.
Yeah, I want to share my experience because it's a little bit different than the guys that talked. I joined a startup, and basically the engineering team was my boss and I when I joined. So it was really different. Like I didn't have um, meetings with all the people to get to know like what are the parts of the code. Basically, uh, they have the documentation for the app, and I read all of the documentation in my first week, like learn about the company, start like investigating, and of course, since day one, I already have small tasks to complete. So yeah, it was really interesting. Like, of course, I felt really nervous, and basically in my first week, I already had tasks coming at me. But yeah, it was quite the experience. It's different, but I really enjoyed the experience that I had.
Cool, thank you for that.
Okay, so I'm going to go over to the next question, and I love that you have different experiences. Lucas working as the only developer with another person in the team, and Adam working with a really big team as well. So very different experiences. Okay, So my next question is for Luca. And knowing what you know about job searching now, what would you tell current students who are still in the technical part of the program to do in order to prepare efficiently for their job search?
Okay. I have like the biggest advice that I can give you is like never be satisfied with what you do. Of course, be proud of what you do. Like this is not easy. Like be proud of everything that you make, but never be satisfied. Like try to go farther. Try to add a new feature. Try to focus on the details. What else can I implement for my web? What else can I add? Because the details are the most important part. And when you go into an interview, they are not going to focus on if you solve the problem or not. They are going to focus on how you solve the problem, rather if you solve it or not. So yeah, the most important thing is focus on the details and be prepared. It's really tough job searching. Student success tell you, but yeah, when you are on it, like you are going to get rejected a lot. But embrace the times that you get interview and learn from them.
Yes, that is such good advice. Thank you so much, Luca. Job searching is tough, but you learn from your experience and you later become successful at any point in time. Okay, all right. So I'm going to hand over to Jen.
Sure. And I have this question for Adam. Is there anything special you did with your job application materials, your portfolio, your LinkedIn, anything on your online profiles? Can you say, is there anything you did to help make you stand out as a job searcher?
And I have to add to what Jen just said, that if Adam doesn't get this one right, I'm no longer going to be his friend, because he did something very special in job searching that got him the interview at his current job. So he has to answer this correctly.
That's why I'm asking him.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Yeah, well, first of all, I should say that I did all that Microverse asked me to do. So making sure you have a professional LinkedIn, making sure you have a professional portfolio, make sure your GitHub is well structured. I mean, all that you are supposed to do, that were prescribed by Microverse. Make sure you do all those things. And I did all those things. And then when I got into my job search path, I was assigned a project. Okay, I think I was asked to do a project. And this particular project, I chose to build an extension. And the extension idea came from the fact that I was looking for a lot of jobs. I was always browsing various sites, looking for jobs. And I realized that, okay, why don't I build an extension that will allow me to easily scrape all these jobs from the various sites so that I don't have to always open various tabs, open remote.io, open remote.co just to look for one position. So I built an extension for a Chrome browser. The idea was to make it cross-browser, but for the beginning, I made it only for the Chrome browser. So this extension only basically cross the various sites and then gets the jobs and the various job information that I needed to know. So I don't have to go there. If I'm interested in any of them, I'll just click and then it will open the job detail page for me. So this is what caught the attention of my employer, because I added this to my CV. And then when I submitted it, so when I think while using my own extension, I saw this job that I was looking for somebody who can build an extension. And I'm like, okay, wow, this is fine. Let me give it a try. So I applied to it, and then and I was asked to like do the usual algorithm test, and I took it, and it was successful. Then I was given a call and all. So the thing here is to focus on building something. Okay, it may not always be that you will get money out of it, but you need to kind of put whatever you know into use, because if I show you my CV, I can tell you that I know I've worked with PHP for over 5 years. I've worked with Ruby for 2 years. I've worked with Node.js for 3 years, but I wasn't hired for any of those technologies. I was hired because I built an extension. So you may know Rails, you may know HTML and CSS and all, but probably you have this zeal for DevOps, for being able to kind of, you like orchestrating things, making sure that continuous deployment for a particular project is really well done. So if it is that thing that you know, that may be what will attract your employer. You never know. It's not always about what you do on a daily basis, but the idea is to always focus on delivering something that people can see. Everybody can list on their CV that they do 10,000 things, but what can you do with those things that you know? They really want to see what you can do. And I want to leave with this. Today I saw a picture, and the picture was divided into two. The first part was a picture of a phone, of the back of a phone, and the back has 3 different cameras, just like all the phones I have now, 3 different cameras. And the other picture had a very clear image, and in the image there was an Apple sign. And then the thing was, and then the caption was like, do not advertise your features, advertise what you can do. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Wow. Did you get that, Jen? We need to steal that slogan from Adam.
I know. I was laughing at the chat. Someone says like he needs to be a coach because he knows.
Yes.
That's cool. I do have another question, but this one is from Murillo, because this is one we get, I'm seeing similar questions in the chat too. So during the interview process, how were you able to win over recruiters, even though, even if you didn't have previous technical experience?
That's an awesome question. And I think my answer would be kind of complementary to Adam, because, okay, so during the job search part of the program, I spent, I think, was 3 or 4 months looking for a job, and I applied to a lot of jobs. And I did a lot of technical interviews, and then the only thing I did during the technical interviews was I was honest with the interviewer. I was always, I never tried to say that I knew something that I didn't. So, for example, for me, I have a background in chemical engineering. I don't have any technical background in programming. So what I had to do during the interviews was, so the first thing I told you was to be honest. So never lie. And the other thing is make a good impression, use your professional skills. Those are the things that will make you stand out with the other candidates. So for example, I had to do a technical test. It was a take-home test for 2 days in the current company I'm working for. And on the job application, they told me they needed people with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, Node, Elixir, a lot of stacks. But then during the interview, I told them that I knew Rails and I knew React and JavaScript. So that's how they chose my technical test. So they do have a lot of technical tests depending on what your specs are. So I had 2 days to do the technical test, and I didn't do anything. So during the programming part, so in the code, I didn't do anything major, to stand out. But what I did, what I spent a lot of time doing was the README file. So the README file was the thing that they looked at and they told me that was perfect. Like, so you know how to deliver information. There's a lot of things written there, and it was easy to review your code because of that, because you wrote what you did and how to use the project and how to set up, and you deployed it. So yeah, the deployment was very interesting too. Not a lot of candidates do that. And also I heard someone in my team that told me that, so the interviewer asked her to do the same technical test I did, but then she just told the interviewer that she didn't know how to do it. And then the interviewer just sent her another test, an easier one, and she's there with me. She was just honest. And I think that's professional, you know, to just tell them that what you can. So as I was saying, maybe I was talking about my friend who told the interviewer that she couldn't do that project, and then the interviewer just sent her an easier one, and she was able to do it. And she also did the same as me. She tried to stand out by doing something extra using her professional skills. And I think that's the key. If you don't have a technical background, use your professional skills. They're very, very powerful. Believe me, that's what I did.
Thank you, Marlo. Last question. I think, Crystal, you had a last question on the list. Do you want me to ask it, or do you want to ask it?
I can go. Actually, there were two left, but there's this question that I really, really want to ask because I get it in every single coaching meeting, okay? And I have somebody on the list here to answer it, which is Luca. But if the other participants, the other panelists feel like they want to answer it as well and want to share their experience, please feel free. Here is the question. Many students say that most of the jobs out there are remote. They claim to be remote, okay? But when you dig deeper, you notice that they are either US remote only, or EU remote only, or UK remote only. You have to be a resident in that country, okay? So this can be extremely frustrating. Did you experience this, and how did you deal with this? I'm going to start with Luca.
Yes, I dealt with it basically all the time. Every time that I was searching, I saw a job post that I really liked, and then I started reading. I started getting excited, basically creating my my cover letter, and then I saw UK or Europe remote only, or North America remote only. So my first advice is don't look at the description at the beginning of the job offer, because if you really like it, then you will get excited, and then you will see that it's only for North America or only for Europe, and then of course you are going to be disappointed. So my advice is first look at the details, like if it says UK or if it's truly remote, and then you can start getting excited and you can create the cover letter and send it to them. If you see only, for example, North America or Europe only, and you're not from there, but you really like the offer, like just send the request. Like, I mean, the worst is it can happen is that they say no, and that's it. Like, there's no downside of just sending it. But yeah, like those offers, don't waste the time like of creating the cover letter, or yeah, like focusing on the offer, getting excited. Just move on to the other one.
Okay, yes, thank you so much, Luca, for that. So sometimes these details of remote UK, US are hidden in the bottom of the job description. So what Lucas is suggesting is that you scroll down to the bottom and you look for it first before you start getting excited about it. And that even if you want to apply for those jobs, you can send a short cover letter, like a really quick message, so you don't spend all your energy and effort in something that you're not sure because of the location, okay? Anybody else want to try that? Yes, Adam wants to give it a go.
Yeah, and I've also realized that some of the job searching platforms, or some of the job platforms like remote.io or the others, they don't sometimes even add the fact that even some, I mean, for some of the jobs they do, but some of them you won't see the fact that this job is only US or EU or UK. So what I would advise is to even click on there's definitely sometimes there's a link to the description of the job itself on the company's page, or they have, like, if there is an external service, that description is what contains everything that you need to know. So in the situation where you've not found anything about location, about the job on the platform where you search for, go on the company's page and look for it, because it could be really frustrating. You will think, oh, this is a job that is best for me. Then you spend time building, trying to change your cover letter and everything, only for you to realize that you sent the job for like not the people who are really interested in you or something at that particular time. But also, I like the fact that Lucas said you can also send your. I mean, you can also try your shot, because if you are really good, and your CV really catches their eye, they will be willing to bring you to that country no matter what. Yeah. So don't be discouraged by the fact that it's the US only, or is the UK only or yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Adam. That's really good advice. And just to add to that, I actually have a student yesterday who got a job. He's just told me that he got the job and he applied without knowing that it was remote. He just saw the job description. He wasn't sure if it was remote because it wasn't written in the job description, but he liked it and he decided to apply. And he found out that they all work remotely and it wasn't written in the job description. So it can be your chance as well, okay? Know when you can accept to try out that chance or move on. All
Yeah,
right.
I can say also that COVID opened this opportunity of trying in other countries, because when I started looking for jobs, COVID was starting, and still some companies were like felt suspicious about, okay, you're in Mexico, but I'm not sure that you can do it in another country so far. But now that's different. I mean, companies, they don't have like many options. It has to be remote. So they are kind of spreading their thoughts on that.
Yes, I completely agree, Diego. Thank you so much for that. So we are now opening our minds because of COVID, and it's creating more remote opportunities. Okay, so that is really, really good for us. All right. Okay, so I think we have come to the end of the questions then.
Yeah, there's some questions people have retyped in here. And there was one in particular that I was typing an answer to in the middle of responding to when we crashed out. And that was basically like how many of our students, you know, and graduates had previous experience in technology, who worked in tech before they got these jobs. And I'll ask the panelists, but statistically, like just looking at our numbers, 34% of our students had zero tech experience. And I've worked with a number of students who've never worked any job, and this is their first job. So a great amount of them have no experience or minimal. Maybe they worked, you know, as a systems administrator or something related, but they weren't developers. So but 34% no, zero tech experience. They came from, you know, restaurant industry or some other background. I wanted to just, yes. And Murillo was a chemical engineer. uh so yeah, I wanted to answer that one because I remembered that question. So yes, Adam.
And Adam as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so that question can make you sometimes feel insecure, especially when you're coming from a different industry. I want to give an example. In my case, I study information technology, but I've worked in like in three different industries. I've worked in the health sector, in the telecom sector, and in the software engineering sector. But in all these sectors, I was working as a programmer. But I bet you none of these people ever asked me my certificate or whether I have a CS degree or anything. They never asked me. All their focus was, can you do this? If you can do it, then come on board. It's not about what qualification you have. Even if you look at Google and other big companies, most of them do not really focus on your CS degree, but they focus on your what you can deliver. Yep.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah, thank you so much, Adam. So some people will focus on your CS degree and some other recruiters will not. Okay, so that's the beauty of job searching. We can have different experiences. Okay. So
There's another
there's a
question. Oh, sorry.
okay.
Sorry, Crystal. There's another question here I think we can ask the panelists that are sitting here. And that is, what type of code bases are you all working in? Front end only, back end only, full stack? Who wants to go first?
Well, I can go. Right now, I'm working as a front end, but sometimes I a task on the backend with C Sharp. And I just use C Sharp like once in my life in a very small project. So they give me the confidence to do it. So I would like to go more over backend in the future, but right now I'm doing React JavaScript.
My experience is a little different. Like from a startup, basically you're a full stack developer. If the tasks involve changes on the front end and changes on the back end, you're going to do both. And of course, my boss reviews like my changes, and then he approves it or he makes comments to improve. And I also remember a question, if that's okay. That I remember that someone asked like, what are the stack that you're using, and if it was the Microverse stack. For me, it was a little different because I joined a company that only has a mobile app. So I learned Dart and Flutter, and they were willing to teach me Dart and Flutter. So it was really good. I increment my stack, so it's really fun.
I'm working at a school, and just like Microverse, and I started with the fundamentals, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript on December and January. But now I'm jumping to React. So it's only front end for now, but they do have a back end part and then some Python at the end. So I might just go through all of that because I really like everything. But right now it's only front end.
Okay, in my case, I'm doing front end, but once in a while. So currently I'm building a tool, and I can't do everything using front end. So I'm forced to use Node.js for the back end of that particular tool. So my role is to work as a front end guy, but I'm forced to do back end as well. Yeah.
Thank you for that. All right, I know. Okay, so in the there's a lot in the Q&A, and we only have a few minutes left. So I'm going to put two questions together that are really similar for the panelists, and whoever wants to answer can answer. One of those questions says, what would you recommend for people who have no work experience? And similar question, I was asking if you need to contribute for open source projects before applying, especially if you didn't have experience. So any of you?
Okay, I'll take the second question. Yeah, okay. So as part of my interview process, I was asked to make a contribution to an open source project, and this was TypeScript, something I haven't done before. But hey, when you really want something, really strive to achieve something, you don't really have nothing stopping you. So I took like a weekend to learn TypeScript, and I contributed to this project. It was, I think, Rollup is just the sister of Webpack, but just that some people like using Rollup to bundle their package. Yeah. So I made a contribution and I submitted my pull request, and it was approved. And then, I mean, yeah. So I did contribute to an open source, but I think this shouldn't scare anybody because open source sometimes can be intimidating. But you shouldn't say because the people there are writing serious code, so I can't contribute to this particular code base. I have a friend who started learning Ruby just after 3 weeks. He was able to contribute into I forgot the name of the software, but it's a very well-known software that open source project that everybody uses. The idea is to, let's say, take one issue that you think is dear to you, or something that you would like to see in the project, and then start working on it. The good thing about it is the owners of the project or those working on the project are really willing to help you. If you face any issue or any challenge along the way, they can easily guide you and tell you what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. So from now, I think you can start trying to contribute to open source projects. Yeah.
I will definitely say yes, do open source if you don't have any experience. It will teach you how to communicate with a team that you don't know, that propose your ideas, that make a ping pong between technical aspects of what you are trying to do, and that will give you a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Murillo, yes.
I would say that you just recommend to join open source team because of the reasons they told us. Yeah.
I wanted to say too, Murillo has to go. So Murillo, if you want to,
All right.
Right this second. No.
Yeah. Okay. I thank you, everyone, and I hope you learned a little bit here. If you need anything, I'll be there on Microverse. Just send me a message, okay? And I can answer asynchronously. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Awesome. Also in the Q&A, I see two more similar questions. One says, how about the experience part of the requirements, as most of the jobs require at least 2 years or more? Similar question, do you guys recommend spending time applying to those jobs that the title says junior full stack developer, but in the experience requirements says minimum 5+ years of development experience? I know you all had experience with this. How about you, Lucas?
Yeah. So basically, my strategy was not focus so much on the jobs that said like 2+ years of experience, because before Microverse, I didn't have any developer experience at all. So like, depending on what is your situation, what I did was also like look for internships in which I could learn new stuff, or look for jobs that, for example, you search and you look for entry level jobs or really junior jobs, and I'm focusing more on those jobs instead of the other ones.
Yeah, I would say that too. If it says 5 or more years, I don't know. I don't have like a experience where I was successful on that process. I was more like technology based um, um, job positions. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if it says React, JavaScript, whatever, then I will go for that. But if they specify years, they might need a senior that it's I don't know, it's been years doing software, so it might not be the type of person that I'm looking for. Yeah.
Okay, what I've realized is that when the job says junior, but is requiring a lot of experience, probably they are trying to pay less than what's the job is supposed to, because for that matter, for that much experience, the position should say senior. And when you say senior, the salary has to go up. So they want to pay low, but get a lot out of the person. Yeah. So I don't think I will go for such jobs. I will just focus on a job that is really plain. That says if it's junior, then you are not required to do much work. If it's senior, then these are what you are supposed to do when you are brought on board here.
I also see that people want to hear the story about the t-shirt. Okay. I'm going to tell you.
We should close on that since we're out of time. So definitely let's hear the t-shirt story before we go.
Yeah. Okay. So it's basically in Microverse, I always wonder, like, yeah, why do we have these meetings every day? Like, and at the end of the day, at the beginning, and I realized that that's basically how companies work everywhere. When I joined, we have basically meetings every day to the team just to check, like, hey, what are you doing? Do you need any help? Are you stuck on something? And it's basically what we do here at Microverse. And then at the end of the week, I have a retrospective. Also, in the company, we have on Fridays, all the teams, we meet, and one person of each team like shares the story of like shares what they are working on, if they need any help from the other teams. And afterwards we play Hacksball, which is a game similar to soccer. So that's why on Fridays I put my Colombian t-shirt just to play and like be in the spirit of the Friday team update and play. So yeah, it's I mean, besides the stressful parts of any jobs, it's really good to come with the people, like engage with them and play with them and just relax a little bit. It's really fun.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I appreciate you all being here. I see there are questions still lingering in the Q&A. I will try to find a way to save these and reach out to people. Crystal, do you have any last comments?
Okay, so a really last one, a very quick one that I'm going to actually take from one of the questions, which was how important are soft skills compared to technical skills in a job interview process? And I'm actually going to answer that one. It is extremely important to have soft skills. I actually have a student who got a job based on her soft skills. She didn't know the tech stack that they were working with, but she was able to communicate her soft skills to the CEO, and he was really impressed by this. It's so important to work on your soft skills. And that is why in the Microverse curriculum, we have the technical skills, which you learn first, and then you go over to improve your soft skills in the interview part of the curriculum. Okay, so I just wanted to make that clear that it is very, very important to have soft skills. And to thank you all for coming on this call, to thank Adam for the cock crow. I loved the cock crows, those were awesome. It's so natural. To thank Luca for sharing his ideas with us, and Murillo, who has just left, but who told us about his experience of not having that much experience and still getting the job. And for Diego, my first student who got a job, and I'm so happy you all came. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and I'm going to hand over to Jen to end the session.